It was Elizabeth's torn slipper during her first ball of the season that led her to believe that perhaps bad omens were real, and if so, her first season was not looking bright. Seeing Oliver lead yet another beautiful young lady onto the dance floor only increased her worry. She had suspected the season was going to be torturous, and she was not wrong. But Elizabeth was not one to wallow, or brood. She swallowed against the lump in her throat and tore her eyes away from the man she had loved since she was 10 years old, and searched for an exit from the ballroom. She had only arrived at the ball a little over a half-hour ago, and already she was aching to leave. Not that the feeling surprised her. Crowds were the very worst. Elizabeth lifted up on her tiptoes in search of a doorway that would lead out of the ballroom, but she could not see one around the colourful swirl of satin, lace, and feathers. Really, how did women look in the mirror before a ball, assess the feathers in their hair and think, "My goodness, how lovely I look impersonating a large bird"? The season was in full swing now, and this ball was a horrifying crush. Despite the short amount of time Elizabeth had spent under the eyes of the ton, beads of sweat were already forming at the back of her neck, and the heat of so many bodies squeezed into one room together was giving her a headache. On top of all this, her rebellious little slipper was all but hanging off her foot. Her eyes raced over the bustling room, noting each of the rosy faces, smiles plastered on, eager to prove their enjoyment in the night. How could every person in the ballroom truly be enjoying themselves? As always, her eyes gravitated to the dance floor, seeking again the tall man with sandy blonde hair and a physique too wonderful for his own good. Oliver appeared to be having the most magnificent time of his life, sweeping easily around the room in spite of the overwhelming movement and noise surrounding them. In the crush, Elizabeth felt short of breath, as though she wanted to disappear and melt into the wall. Feelings she was certain her older siblings never felt among society. As the middle daughter of the Duke of Dalton, sister to both the Earl of Kensworth and the Countess of Hatley, Elizabeth had already been forced into introductions to at least 50 people whose importance made her legs wobble and her voice crack when she spoke. This was not the plan. It was decidedly opposite of the plan.